Hi, Danielle. Welcome. Hi, Jenna. Hi, Brenna. Sonia. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for popping in today. If you can put in the chat, what is currently bringing you joy, and then your location. Where are you located right now? 'Cause I know sometimes people are traveling, you're doing all kinds of stuff. So in the chat, just let us know what is bringing you joy currently, and then as well as where are you located right now. So as you're typing that up, I know for me, what is bringing me joy is that I got a lot of planning time to do today, actually. So our group knows that the folks here know that I've been doing a lot of conferencing, so haven't had the time to do the things that I actually need to do. So planning time was really sacred and magical and amazing today. So that brought me a lot of joy. And I am in Georgia, so in the South, baby. So we have Brenna started MCP in classes this week. Oh, congratulations! How exciting! In April. Okay, Brenna. In Chesapeake, Virginia. Jenna, I love seeing your name. I'm so happy that you're here. From Tennessee, and tomorrow's the last day of state testing for my school. Oh my goodness! Thank goodness, right? I saw this TikTok video where it said one of the things that she learned during state testing is that it took 30 minutes for a dum dum lollipop to melt in her mouth without moving. And I was like, you know what? I don't miss that part about testing at all. Like, especially with my ADHD. It's just, yeah, I was like, thank you for the knowledge that I didn't think I needed. So we'll go ahead and get started. Hi, Salo. I see you as well. Thank you for joining us today. This is the Wavio and MCP webinar specifically for ELA teachers. And I'm so excited to be in this space with you all because I get to expand my brain as well. I've heard great things about Wavio, and I've heard great things from teachers just saying how amazing and simple and user-friendly Wavio is. And so we wanted to have something that's a little bit more specific and talk about how you can use Wavio in your English classes. And so with that being said, our agenda for today is that we have our welcome and introductions. We have Wavio in the class. We have a short demo and then some hands-on time, so you will be able to explore. We love some exploration here at MCP, and so you'll be able to explore a little bit, and then we'll talk about the ELA specific issues. And then, of course, questions and next steps. If you have any questions, please utilize the chat. I believe there's like a Q&A button maybe for you all to also put your questions in, but we want to make sure that we don't miss out on any of your questions. So another fun thing that Wavio is doing actually is that there is a survey at the end of this webinar together. And we would love for you all to fill out the survey and you'll be able to win some swag. So you'll be receiving some Wavio stickers. It's really cute. So hopefully you're able to fill out that survey at the end of the webinar. And so with that being said, y'all, if you're having any sound issues or any video issues, please leave, come back. We're going to be here for the next 57 minutes. So no worries about that. You're also going to get a certificate, a follow-up email with slides, resources, as well as a recording. So you will get access to that within 24 hours. So with that being said, I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to hand it on over to Donna and Cindy, who has all of the knowledge about how to create a progress tracker that works for your English classes. So Donna, go for it.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Tony Rose. Really appreciate you. And everyone that joined us today for this webinar. So I'm Donna, I'm co-founder and CEO of Wavio, and we're really excited to meet you all today and share with you what we've been building. So I'll do a little demo shortly after Cindy, but at first I'd like you to meet Cindy, who's been using Wavio in her class. Cindy's been a teacher in Chesapeake School District and teaching ELA for many years, and she's an expert in her field, and she's been became an expert in Wavio. So we're very, very grateful that she's going to lead the session today. So without further ado, I'll move it over to Cindy. Thanks.
So. Okay, can y'all see my screen?
Not yet, Cindy, not yet.
Okay, whoops. I hit share the screen, so let's see. I'll try that again. Oh, it wanted me to, I don't want that, I want that. Yes, okay. So, can you see, what do you see? That's not the, Okay, hold on one second here. No, it says stop sharing. Can you see it says benefits of Wavio?
Yes, we can see it.
Perfect, thank you. Because I'm just looking at the whole screen. So first of all, not an expert. Let's just kind of clear that up. Basically, in working with Donna and actually with MCP, it's difficult dealing with English. So we teach so many different aspects of our curriculum. It's not like other subjects, and that kind of makes it difficult. So in working with Donna, we just kept looking at all the different options and kind of came up with the idea of sharing with you. But I do want to kind of just share the benefits just straight up of Wavio. So first of all, it is by far the easiest thing to use for the students and for the teachers. It is a one-stop shop. There's no need to look in multiple places. The kids go straight to Wavio through Clever, and they see their list, and it's very, very easy. It also provides the accountability because you have the public tracking. When you have you can put the public tracker on so that the kids can see where everyone is on the little tracker. And it makes it very obvious if they're behind pace, on pace, or ahead of pace. The other part that's kind of cool, and I haven't used this as much, the communication, you can actually add teacher comments. I'm getting better at figuring out all the little ins and outs, but that's something I'm looking forward to. One thing I do use though is the revision button. Before, I would put a note on their paper. I would tell them, hey, we need to look at revising this, or I would tell them verbally. 2 or 3 days would go by and we didn't get it revised. Now I mark it on the tracker, and you'll see some examples of that. They don't like looking at that little R on their tracker, that little yellow squiggle, and they want to get it revised. I mean, they literally probably asked me 10 times on one particular mastery check, when could they get that revision done? And it required me to reteach a skill for about 5 or 6 of them. And I'm like, shortly, we need to work on, reviewing this before you can take a mastery check again. But they wanted that out of the way. So that's kind of a really cool piece to that. And it only takes a second to put the R revision on that tracker. The other part is the independence. They know what to do, and they're a detailed description. So basically I take the description that I would put in Canvas and I put it in Wavio. So they clearly can look and see without going anywhere else, what is it I need to do? And exactly how do I do this? So I asked my students, I said, look, I'm going to actually try this for about a month and to see how it works with us. So after about a week, I was working with Donna and I said, I'm going to meet with one of the creators and I'd like to give her some feedback. So I just sent them a Google form and I asked them a couple questions. So this is what they said. They were talking about MCP and using the tracker. Well, I think this class is fine. I also feel like it has been improved since Wavio was added. They said, I like how Wavio is. I feel like it's programmed nicely and nothing should be removed or taken away. And then first of all, Wavio is such an amazing website tracker for students who need to see what they need to do or their mastery. These are 6th grade students, but those were their words. So one of the things on the survey I'd said is it easier for you to see what you need to do next? Because that was one of the problems. Kids were saying, I don't know what to do. What do I do now? And so when I polled the kids, about 65% of the kids said, yes, it was easier. They strongly agreed with that statement. The other one, I like being able to mark off my completed work. Again, somewhere in 67% of that. And the other part there was said, I like the tracking better in Wavio because I was using a Google live doc where I put their assignments in there with the links to Canvas, so they could click on it and it would take them right there. The first time I actually used the Google slide where the kids actually can go in and download it and they could mark it. It was awesome. If you made one change, they had to re-download the entire slide deck again in order to see the changes. That was not working with 6th grade students. So that's not gonna cut it. So I went with just the live Google Doc. And the problem is I had all my different categories and the kids never knew which thing they should do next. I did use a public tracker on my box light so the kids could go up and click that they completed it. And they seemed to like that, but some of them didn't want to bother going up there to do it. So this way they're marking it, right there at their Chromebooks, which is really kind of nice. So the kids, when I asked them, did you like the tracking better? 59% liked it. What's kind of funny is the couple of these kids that didn't like it, they did not want to change. They were like, nope, I don't even have to see it. I know I'm not going to like it. So after a week, they were still not quite convinced, but that's different now. And then over here, it said with Wavio, I can clearly see if I'm on pace, ahead of pace, or behind pace. And again, at about 63%, and I explained to Donna that when I first started, I wasn't quite sure how to do the pacing so that I could mark it so they could see it. And it was a little bit out of whack. So I feel like that was part of the results here on that particular thing. And I'm going to turn that over to you now, Donna.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it was really exciting to see these results when you first sent them to me. All right, so I'm going to share screen and do a little demo of Wavio. One sec. All right, so I'm gonna put the link to Wavio in the chat so everybody can kind of tag along if you guys want to, or you can just watch me. So basically, when you click on that link, you get to this screen, and it asks you which credentials you want to sign in. If you are using Clever, I highly recommend signing with Clever. If you're using Google SSO, then obviously do that. All right, so here I am. I'm signing in with to create a new account. Okay, so it first asks me whether I sign in as a student or a teacher. So I'm going to click a teacher. And again, I'm going back to my credentials. And now I'm here. So you have the option to take a tour. The tour will show you everything, but I'm going to skip it for now because we're doing a quick demo. So the first step is really create your course, add your content, add your students, and then start playing with the tracker. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to add a course. I'm going to call it demo. And then I'm going to create, unit 1. This is going to be my first lesson. I'm just going to call it lesson 1. And my first activity is, usually a video. So I'm going to select the type here. I usually do, let's say notes. So I'm going to change this to notes. And let's say practice. This is going to be, I'm going to leave this icon looking like an assignment. And then lastly, a mastery check. Okay. And then we'll change this to a mastery check. And now I have my first lesson in. All right. So the other thing I see on this screen are those links. In these links, you can actually go in and give a description that the kids will see. So I could say, watch the video on Edpuzzle, for example. All right, and then I can add that link in there. So for here, I'm just going to put just some random link to Google, and I'm going to label it video. Okay, and we're later going to see how that's going to look like. You can do the same for each one of these. This blue button, that means that this activity is going to show up on your tracker, and you're going to give it some sort of an assessment, whether the kid mastered it or not. If you are not planning to review whether the kids watched the video, did the notes, or the practice, you can just unclick this. It's not going to show up on your end, but it's definitely going to show up on the kids' side. So I'm going to put it all back there just for now. And then you have the must, should, aspire classifications. So I'm going to keep, this is a must, this is a must, and then maybe the practice, I'm going to just do a should, and a mastery check I'm going to do as a must. Everything in the tracker is movable. Like, so you can move activities, you could move lessons, you could move units. And so, for example, if I have another unit here, and I'm going to call this one temp unit, I can create, a new lesson here. And, after I created it, I can just move the entire lesson over here, and the numbers will automatically change, okay? All right, so once I'm done with this, I'm going to add my kids. So I'm going to say add a class. The easiest way to do this is to create a class and call this just, period 1, for example. And then you go in there and you grab a code. It gives you a class code, and then you give this class code to your kids. You send them to pulse.mywavio.com, same link that you guys used. They sign in as students, and then they use this code and they join your class. But for now, we're just going to add some fake students here. So I'm going to say student 1, and I'm going to say, I'm going to call it, say, Jessica J. Okay. A, and let's do Donna. Okay. All right. And now I have 4 students in my class. The next thing you could do here is obviously add due dates. By the way, you can add as many classes to the same content. So I can create 5 classes. All of them will be associated with the same content. So you don't need to create, it's automatically going to create all the trackers for you. Okay, so in the suggested pacing, you'll now see all my trackers here. And then I can come here and select a due date for any of my activities. I can also hide units by clicking on this hide. And then it's not going to show it to my kids. I'm going to see it, obviously. So now when you're done with this part, you can go to the trackers. And if anybody has any questions, let me know. No questions? All right. Now I'm going to go to the trackers, and I'm going to take a look at my tracker and how we can use it. So the lessons tab is going to be what I would project on the board for my kids to see. Okay, and the lessons tab is only going to show me where all my students are at. It's not going to show me things that everybody completed or things that are way far ahead for that unit. So right now, all of my students are in the first activity, and their next activity is the notes. So that's what I'm seeing. The learners tab is where I can actually start giving my assessments and, to the kids. So for example, let's say Andy has mastered this. Dana needs revision for that. Jessica, Jessica did it, has mastered this. You're not seeing me clicking on anything because I'm using keyboard shortcuts. But if I click on the cell, you can actually see the different statuses, and you can change them. The keyboard shortcuts that I'm using are actually just letters. So for mastered, I use M. For revise, I use R. If I want to do optional, I'm just going to click on the O when I hover over the cell. All of the keyboard shortcuts are here in the little question mark. So you can click on this and find all of them. It's really just, the first letter. So if it's in progress, it's going to be P, not started N. E for expert. So let me show you E for expert, because this is one of the fun ones. And all right, so, and then, another thing you could do here is click on the space bar or click on edit here. And once you do that, you can actually give feedback for the kids. And here I would say, Dana, watch the video again and write your notes. Okay, and then I'm going to click save and done, and Donna is going to see my feedback. Right, so I'm not going to talk about the update tab because we're doing some major changes there, so let's ignore it for today. In the lessons tab, here's what you see. First of all, 3 of your kids moved over, Andy, Jessica, and student 1. They all moved over to the notes. And then student 1 became an expert, so their name is showing up right beneath this activity where they were labeled as expert. And Donna, I marked Donna that as needing to revise, so she's now labeled in yellow. And you know, when she looks at it at the board, you realize, oh, okay, I have to revise this. And then we see the on page over here in blue. And you also see everything expanded a little bit because my kids moved over. So this is this in short. Let me just really quickly show you the student side for all of this, okay? So if I went, the way I found it is I went like here on my tracker, I clicked on the navigation, I went to roster, and now I see my kids list. This is, you can also go to courses, classes, and then wherever your kids list is there, you click on the binoculars and you see it as a student. All right. So as a student, this is what your students see. Okay, they have a little a place here where they can switch units, but they don't see unit 2 because I hit it. They have a little progress bar that labels all the lessons that they need to look at. And they have all the different activities for every single lesson. So once they see this, they can click open, they can see my description, they can, if it's in blue, that means that they have a link in there, so they can click on this and go to see the video. And if I click on this link, it's actually going to take us to Google because this is the link I put in there. So, oops. So let's go back here. And then I can check this off. And once I'm done with this, and once I'm done with this, I'm going to check this off. And now you see those 3 little dots. That means I checked it off. This is something that my teacher is supposed to review. So it's in waiting. It's kind of gray, and 3 little dots are in waiting. And every time I click this check mark, this little placement icon is moving forward. And as students, every time they walk in, log in, log out, this placement will take them exactly where they're supposed to be. Even if they started playing around and moving to other places, it's always going to bring them back to where they're supposed to be. So if I as a teacher is going to mark this as revised, needs revision, this is going to become from gray to blue, and this little placement icon is going to jump back there, and it will show this in yellow. So on the tracker, once kids must label things as revised, or sorry, as submitted, then you're going to get these little gray triangles here. So you know the kids submitted this. They marked it off as completed, and now it's ready for you to review it. So this is it for the demo. I'm going to stop share and see if there are any questions, and if not, we can move. Oh, thank you, Jenna. Yeah, a lot of teachers love the keyboard shortcuts. Yeah, anybody has questions? I see something in the Q&A.
Yeah,
Right.
Donna, it says, yeah, I was going to read it out to you. It says, if students use a different SSO, ours use ClassLink, can they still access Wavio?
No, well, we don't have an integration yet with ClassLink. Do you guys if you guys use, you could either do email and password or Google SSO if you have that. But we are working on getting ClassLink integrated.
And then a follow-up question too, can names be alphabetized by last name initial, or is the best workaround to type their last name in the first name box?
Can you say it again? Sorry.
Yeah. And I know Cindy had answered this as well. It says, can names be alphabetized by last name initial,
Oh.
or is the best workaround to type their last name in the first name box? Because
Oh,
I
yeah.
know he said like the names will import into Wavio,
Yes.
but I didn't know if there was like another way to manually or alphabetize by last name.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me show you. So once the kids log into Wavio independently with the code, or you import them using Clever or using Google Classroom if you have that, their name will appear. And let's go to courses, and their name will appear here in the class the same way they were added. So usually we would get first name and last initial, and you can sort it however you like by going to the profile. So you see my little name icon here, and then I click on that and I go to profile, and here you can do a lot of customization. You can customize the course labels, for example, to start with unit 0, or change how everything looks like. And then here you can change the student name to answer your question, and you can change, the order, what you see, and here you can change the sort order. So for example, if I just want to see, first name, last initial, I'm going to click here, and that's what I'm going to see. And if I want to sort them, I can sort them by first name or last name, however I'd like this to be. So yeah, and then so, and also, because we're already here, another thing you can do in here is add a co-teacher. So basically all you'll do is add that co-teacher email, click add, and that's going to send them an invite to join your course. So on the fly, I showed you all the other stuff. Yeah. Any more questions? Great. Yeah, so Cindy, do you want to answer the question about Canvas?
I don't see the question about Canvas. Oh, wait, I see it now. It's through Clever, and I put the Canvas link directly in Wavio so that I can, so the kids can actually click on the link in Wavio and it takes them straight to Clever. Does that answer her question? Okay, she said okay. All right. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen again, and let's hopefully be able to do this more easily. There, that's the one I want. Oh, I had it. I don't know. I definitely don't want the infinity. There we go. All right, nope, that's the wrong one. I did it last time. Sorry.
Or Cindy, maybe there is something sitting on your microphone, like a paper or something, because there's a little.
It's called the sound of freedom, as my husband says. We live near the naval base, and they have to get so many hours in. So the jets are literally, what are they? The loudest jets in the inventory are flying overhead. So unfortunately, that's what you're hearing. Now, let's see if I can get to my tracker. I'm trying to share it, but it's not flipping. I'm going to turn my volume off for just a sec.
So, yeah, if anyone has any questions in the meantime, I can answer.
Donna, there was one question on there. I'm not sure if maybe Cindy wants to address it before she starts, but how would you set the pacing for a beginning reading course where some students won't complete it in 1 year?
Okay, yeah, definitely. I'll give Cindy the authority on that, obviously. Yeah.
Okay, that is kind of a little bit trickier because this is kind of the thing that I talked with Donna about in the beginning, was because with English, it's not all the same. Everything kind of changes. Then you have your pacing set, and you have somebody say that, just say for the reading program, I'm going to call it chapter 1, and another child has moved to chapter 2. So the chapter 1 kid is still moving along, and not anywhere near the chapter 2. So when you put your pacing guide up, your public tracker, you have all those blank spaces, and it does some kind of really weird thing. And there is a workaround to that we figured out what we could do. There's a way to take off the tracker for those other assignments. So if you have, most of the kids have finished, say, chapters 1, 2, and they're halfway through 3, and you have the other child on chapter 1. So when you're looking at that overall pacing, if you're trying to see the current kids, you can just take the where you're tracking it on the side where you're not tracking it. So that way it'll show all of those kids at one time. You just still set up your pacing guide. Now, I don't know, Donna, if there's a way to separate out those kids that might be falling significantly behind. Because you are going to have some that are going to not get, maybe they're going to get halfway through, and then the other kids are going to finish the program.
So there are two ways to address it. Is it okay if I quickly take over?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. All right. So let me just, so I'm going to go to courses. Let's say I'm on demo, and I'm just going to add one lesson to my second unit just to give you guys, actually, no, let's do it with a course that already,
right.
No, I don't have a course existing here. So I'm just going to do lesson 2 and add one activity here. So we could see how that looks like. So for my student, if I have, all right. Sorry, one more thing I forgot to do here. All right, so now all my units are visible, right? So if I have one unit still stuck on unit 1 and the rest of them are on unit 2, that specific student, when he's doing his own tracker, he's going to be wherever he is, okay? And when he's done, he can move to unit 2, and the pacing guide is just going to take him there, the little place icon. And he can always switch between unit 1 and unit 2 in here on the left side. For you, the teacher, what you can do is the lessons, that's going to be tricky. It's going to pull you all over the place, and then you're just going to have to go, scroll right and left to see everything. But on the learners, you can actually toggle between unit 1 and unit 2. So then on unit 2, if most of your kids are going to be here, you're going to be working here. And then at some point, you're going to go back to unit 1 and just take care of that one student. I hope this is helpful, and I'm going to bring it back to you, Cindy. Thank you.
Okay, I see the other question about those that are in accelerated instruction and mixed classes. We have the same gifted, it's called advanced. So it's gifted and honors together. And then you have your core and inclusion kids together. So I have I have 2 separate courses. Within those 2 courses, I have 2 for advanced and 2 that are core. So the curriculum is similar for the advanced and it's similar for the core. So they're not going to do all the same things that the kids in the advanced curriculum are going to do. So that helps right there. I do have students move forward, but what you really need are some really good aspire to do activities. That's been a game changer this year. I've developed those more so than I did the first year. That is when the kids are going to take off and do that kind of learning. We have a gifted specialist that comes in and gives us all kinds of different activities and ideas. It's not more work. It's just more in depth. And for the super accelerated kids, it becomes something they choose to research and work on, and it correlates with whatever you're doing in class, especially if it's an English language arts thing. There's so many things you can tie that assignment to. So that's kind of what we do. So they're moving forward, but may not be on a specific skill too far in advance, but they are moving forward on kind of more of the critical thinking and different kinds of activities like that appeal to their interest level. I don't know if that answers your question or not. I'm going to try to share my screen again and feel a little better at it. I think I had to go to the Chrome tab. There we go. Okay, great. So pick up from here. So And pretty much Donna has already explained a lot of this to you. This was my advanced class, and there's a little tab over here that you can make this short or long so you can actually read what it says, or it's going to be shortened. Now, you'll notice I don't have the 3 numbers because with the 6th graders, it's just a little bit too confusing. So there's a way to go into those profile settings and make those changes. So if you look at this here, this is the teacher side, what I see, and you can see those little experts. And those are the gray diagonals that let me know that I've got to go and check off their work, that they've either completed it or need to revise. And then it'll change colors. And you'll notice these are kids that need to revise. This is what the students see when I put it on the board. And that's where you were just seeing it. You may see a gap if you have someone who's so far behind. But just like she said, you can let them stay behind and you can have the rest of the group. What you see there is going to be where the majority of the kids are currently working. So this is what I project on my box light. This tells them here, these are experts. So they notice if they're having trouble with this particular thing, this was writing a thesis statement. These students over here could say, hey, I can talk to these experts and get some help. So if they need direction, that's kind of what they do. Or they can ask anybody that's ahead up here. So if this is Zachary and he needed help with 5.3, he can ask anyone for help on that assignment. The same exact thing you just saw, this is the student side. So for the students, this is what you would see when they log in. They get that little location icon. That's where my blue arrow is pointing. That says, okay, you need to pick up on this assignment here. This is Charlie, and this showed Charlie exactly what he needed to do. These were the 3 dots that you saw, the gray diagonal. That's the one that I have to check off that he completed it. So he knows exactly what he needs to do currently. And if you notice, this one up here is not checked off because it is a should do. And this was a set of notes that I had in here. They could click on it and review a few slide decks full of notes. However, it's not required. It's just suggested that they do that. So he doesn't have to mark it off. He can mark it off, but I'm not tracking it. So it's not going to show up on my public tracker. And I don't have to go back and check and mark. And that saves you a lot of time. And let's see. Okay. I had to point this out to the kids because they did not realize this. The exhibit on the right for the kids, this little tiny eye, that is the one they have to click to get this to pop up. So this gave them instructions, what they needed to do. And then the little paper looking icon has the actual link that takes them straight to Canvas and straight to the assignment. So if it's graded in Canvas, as soon as they click on that, it takes them right into Canvas. They do the assignment and the grade goes into Canvas. And then, from there, you don't have to do anything else. Same thing, we had no red ink we use for English, and that takes them straight to those assignments. I just add the links here. Edpuzzle links, but Edpuzzle links I put into my Canvas because it'll grade directly in Canvas. So I put those links in there as well. And let's see. So here's where we could use some insight from our English people. Adding content to Wavio, again, super, super easy. Here is what I was saying. I have advanced English is what I named the overall. And then when I imported from Clever, it's advanced English 6, Bell 3, and this one's Bell 5, and then 2 and 4. So they're already set up that way. So when the kids go in, they're only seeing that one block. So the assignments in Canvas, again, I said, are linked. The instructions are there. And so here's the conundrum is what I call it. These are all of the skills that we were working on right here. And it kind of gets difficult because you're trying to plan what you need to teach when. And some things are actually a little bit easier to teach than some others. So looking here, this was, I was trying to think, and this is where, again, our ELA people could really help with this. This was like a warm-up, something you would do a little bit each day. And I'm like, how am I going to put that in my tracker? I don't want to have an individual thing every day that I have to track. So this had 3 little cards on it, and I put the link in. But the thing is, that link goes to Canvas, and it's 6 sets of cards. but I'm not tracking it. So I just tell them to complete 1 to 3. And then down here, I'm telling them to complete 4 to 6. And then further down, it's the next 3. And then finally at the end, there's 12 little cards that they're actually doing warm-up activities. And it's only going to count one time in Canvas. It's the same link. I just put the same link there, and I'm not tracking it till the very last one. And then that's when they can mark it though, but I'm not having to go back in and say, yes, they did those 3, because I will collect those at the end and have those, if that makes sense or not. So if you kind of notice, there's a lot of differences right here in terms of the little icons. You can choose what to do with it. You could put the link directly to Book It, not even put it in Canvas if you didn't want to, however you want to do it. And you could track it or not track it and make it a must do or a should do, depends on, what they're doing. Okay, so here's what I was going to say. Here's what I kind of thought about, because she did not show you yet the spreadsheet, it was kind of daunting to me. And I'm thinking, oh no, I'll never be able to do this. But it took 5 minutes. Donna showed me how to do it. It was very, very easy. So in the spreadsheet, it's already set up like this. So then I just erased her information and I put in my information. Actually, all I did was export it from, there goes the jets again. I exported it from my tracker to the spreadsheet, and it put all this stuff in there. So it's all here, which is nice. And you can move it in here. But what I kind of looked at was, what if I could set it up by the category that I was teaching, even though I'm not going to do it all together. So here, so like say elements of story. So I went back to the beginning of the year and picked out a few of the things that I did for a plot structure for 6th graders when they first entered middle school. So I picked out some of these little activities and I just, put them right over here, put the links, even though the links won't work next year for Canvas, I can still go and see the links and oh, that's right, that's the activity. So I just kind of went and said, okay, elements of story, here are some activities. And then I went into the beginning of simple sentences and fragments, identifying the subjects. And there are many more things we do. The morphology, the actual like text structure. So I could literally set up various spreadsheets for each of the skills. And kind of start with the beginning. What am I going to do? 1, 2, 3, 4 before we get to that mastery check and before we move on. The problem is we don't teach English like that. We don't just do plot and that's all we do. We don't just do writing and that's it. We don't just write thesis statements and we stop. It's ongoing with all of the skills all of the time. And that's kind of where I was like, how am I going to put that into a tracker? So I took these 2 things here, and then as soon as I hit the export button to Wavio, literally within seconds, this is what I got. It put this one in 7, this one in 8, and the links all matched. So everything went to the right place that it needed to. So when it's like this, it was very easy then to come over here and say, oh, I know I can get this done and this done this coming week. Oh, wait, we have a fire drill or we have a lockdown. Well, I don't want to introduce my sentences and fragments until I have a little more time to do that. So I could literally just drag this down, change the order, and you just move it and it automatically changes. So it gave me that flexibility to move them around. The one thing that I do is, because again, 6th grade, the students have trouble with organization, and parents are saying, I don't know, Johnny had a plot activity. What is he supposed to do? I don't know. All these papers say plot. So the numbers are there automatically. So once I've actually introduced this and they're working on, say, 7 point, let's go look here. Let's look at 7.5. So we've already introduced the 3 Little Pigs storybook to just get that practice in. And mom wants to know, what is Johnny missing? And she looks on our grading system and she's going to go, oh, it's 7.5. All he has to do is go to his Wavio tracker, click on 7.5, and he has the assignment that's been sent to Canvas, then to our grading system. We have Synergy parent view, student view for them, for their grades. So that's what we're able to do with that information. And I think, whoops, let me go back. And I'm going to stop.
Thank you.
So any ideas that people have, English teachers have, would be awesome to see how we could make this easier and better, because
Um,
that's the concern.
Cindy, can I just jump in? We had a question from somebody about how do you export import? Do you want me to show it, or you want to do it on your end?
You may want to, because the jets are coming back by again.
All right, okay, so I'll show it real quick. Thanks. Okay. So when I'm here, in my course, you know what, let's do it in a new course. And I'm gonna say test. Okay. And here, there is a little gear icon that says import and or export. So if I had content, obviously I could export it, share it with my colleagues, my peers that want to use the same content. But if I just prepared a content like Cindy showed you, I can import it. So I'm gonna import content that I already have ready. And it just pops right in. So like you see, and I'll show you the original so you can see where this is all coming from. So I use a template of Google spreadsheet that's the template I shared with Cindy and I share with other teachers. And the template really just has very simple columns of unit, lessons, activity, type, requirement, track, description, and links. Once you put your content in here, you can just download this as a CSV and import that CSV into Wavio, and then it all just pops in. It's very, very simple. I'm going to share this, through the email after the meeting. What I just want to ask you guys, do not make changes to the drop-down menus. Keep them as is. All the drop-down menus have to stay the same. Unit has to come up once. If you want to add another unit, its name is going to come up, after the last lesson activity. So this would be where I would put the unit 2. If you want to add a lesson to unit 2, that's where it's gonna. It's pretty obvious. I just want to, I don't know why I'm saying this. But yes. But then and activities like you see in here. The other thing I want to emphasize is obviously description, and I'm gonna increase the size here. So if you're adding links, your link itself should be the original. Do not use. Sometimes Google likes to give you the chip or like the shortcut of this. Do not do that. Just have the address inside of the round brackets, and then the label should go inside a square bracket. If you want to add more than one link, just add a comma between them, and that's it. Yeah, so this is everything. I'm gonna just check the chat if anybody has questions on this. Yes, I'm gonna give copies to everybody. No problem at all. Yes. Okay, and I'm gonna stop share and see if anybody has any questions. Cassandra, I see you're waiting on permission slips. Cassandra, I think you could use it on the teacher side, probably even before you add the kids, and just show it on the board if that's how some of our teachers were using it before we released a student interface, if you wanted to. And obviously, feel free for all of you to add my email or email me specifically. I'll give you all our privacy documentations so you can share it with your IT department if you want it. Yeah, any other questions, comments?
Donna, I was just going to say that that's one reason why I like using the first name and last initial, because they're not identifying the kids in any way. So they don't have any information on the child other than a first name and last name. I mean, the first name with their last initial. The only problem is it doesn't alphabetize the last initial. Like I let it come through Clever and it's automatically set up that way. So if you have somebody that has the last name begins with an H and there's 3 or 4 of them, they may not be in the right order. Could be an
Right.
HE, HA, whatever. So,
Yeah.
so anyway, so you're not having any privacy issue because you're not sharing any kind of data that would let you know exactly which child that is. And many of them have some of the same names. So just for that.
Yeah. Great. Well, good. We are working on the New York City DOE approval, but feel free to reach out privately. Actually, can we bring out? I'm going to bring up the slides again and just share with you. So yeah, please fill out the survey so you can be on the lottery to get our lovely stickers. And then in the slides here, we also, sorry, I'm gonna leave this for kind of 1 more minute for you guys to see. Actually, I can probably put it in the chat. So I'm gonna put it in the chat. There we go. Okay, so you can fill out the form. And then this is my information. So if you want to meet with me, just, I'm going to put it all in the chat. If you want to email me, here we go. This is my email address. If you want to book a meeting with me, you just feel free. This is my calendar. You just go in there, find time that works for you and book a time. And then here's our website, just in case you need to share it with other people or your IT person, etc. Any other questions, comments? Oh, I see somebody saying we will sync with Google next year. This will be our district list, but I'll try and see. Yeah, sounds good. If you need my support, I'm happy to help, Cassandra, and everybody. Yeah. I'm not seeing the feedback link or the email address. Oh, sorry guys. I sent it to the wrong group. Thank you. Thank you for telling me. You see, that's why we need PR here. Because the panelists see it, so they're like, nah. Thank you for bringing this up. All right, here's.
I was going to comment. I saw a couple high school English teachers. I know one of them is at Hickory High. Well, she was. I'm not sure if she's still there or not. I think it's Brenna. I know that the high school teachers set up a syllabus in advance. That is something that could so easily be put on the Wavio tracker, along with all of your papers and everything like that. It would be so easy to transfer that information there. So, I would love to know if there's a better way to organize the ELA curriculum in a way that flows. Oh, she used to be there. Okay. But it just doesn't work as easy as other subjects. My friends that were doing the math and the science, it was so easy. You have a beginning and an end. You start with you introduce the skill and you keep building till you get to the end. And then we have ELA. It's all year long. You're doing everything. You're spiraling, you're going back, you're reviewing, you're adding to it. And you cannot just do all one thing. And it's supposed to be included where you have your grammar, your writing, and your literature and your informational text all integrated. And yet you're trying to make sure you've included every step. So anyone that has any ideas, we would love to know so that we can make this work easier for English teachers.
Yeah, maybe you want to put your email in the chat so folks can reach out to you and kind of brainstorm on that or anything like that. Or they can email me and I'll connect. That works too. Yeah. Awesome. Wonderful. Good. If no one has any more questions, we can let you. Okay. Great. Yes, so feel free to reach out, Sonia. I'm happy to help anytime. Thank you. And we might have another webinar like this coming up in May, potentially. So we'll be in touch. All right. Well, good. So everybody have a really great night. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. We hope this was useful for you. And yeah, and we appreciate you very much. And thank you, Cindy, for leading this. This was wonderful. So many great insights and feedback. Thank you.
All righty.
Beautiful. Thank you, everybody.
All right. So is it just us left, or can't tell? No, people here. We have more.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay in until the hour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See if anybody has any more questions, and then we close up for tonight. Thank you so much.
It's a lot of information.
Yeah.
But it's once I think I wish that people would just give it a try just to see it, because I'm still can't believe how much easier it is than anything I've done. So here we are, I'm coming to the end of second year, and this has been the easiest thing to implement, the easiest thing to use. The kids know what to do. Now, I still have some students that'll say, what do I do now? And so I ask them to pull up their tracker. You tell me what you're supposed to do now. And then they're like, oh, so I guess I should do. I said, let's see. Have you done it? No. Then I guess you should do that. And lo and behold, they end up, realizing what they need to do. So it really helps all the way around. The problem with English, though, is that sometimes there is a skill where, even like the other teachers were saying, when you have a student that's behind, but it's time to take an assessment. Well, you got to take the assessment. So it may be further down on their list because they didn't do 3 or 4 things. But when it's time to take the test, it's time to take the test, or whatever the assessment is that we have to give. So then they're out of whack a little bit, but you still say, well, you still need to go back. Where does that little blue icon take you? Right back to where you left off. You need to keep going and picking up. If it's not a must do, you don't have to worry about it. You should do, but it's not a must do. But if it's a must do, you must do it. So you need to go back and do that. And one thing we didn't mention, Donna, that was helpful to me, because I didn't know what to do for those kids that they weren't going to get to it. And so we can mark that, and it ends up being in red. And then they can't go back and do it, because once a period of time goes by, marking period's over, we're moving on. And they kept, wanting to, well, who knows what they wanted to do, but it kept taking away, back, and they needed to be attentive to where they were currently. So I forget what it is we mark that, but it's turned
incomplete,
red.
Incomplete. Yeah. And we're gonna add like what you suggested for the proficient / done.
Right.
We're looking into all these suggestions. Yeah.
And that's the part, I think, if for the ELA people to know that it's, you all are listening, and we can make it work for us with the information, giving you the information and figuring out a way.
Yeah.
Because it's very useful when it's going to be tailored to what you need. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm still, it's the kids that make it even worth every bit of it, because they just know what to do. It's just, and you're not, I used to number my papers. I used to number, I had R1, R2, R3, M1, M2, M3, so that I could at least try to help them. And I would write them on the paper before I made the copy, and I would have to go do all of this. And now I don't have to do any of it, because it's on that tracker. And then I just go at the last minute. At first I was putting all the numbers in, and then realized, whoops, I had to move them around. Oh, now I got to go change them. So now I just do it as I go, and right before, and I'll put that new number in. and the parents know what to do. I mean, I've had kids finish work that didn't get work done because the parents are like, it says right here, it's 5.3, you didn't do it. And here it is, you can click on it and they can see it because I put the copies in there as well. So they can see what it looks like. Oh, that's the paper I need to do. So
Wow,
thank you.
that's so good to hear that. Thank you so
That's
much.
awesome.
And thank you, Lauren, for staying
Yeah, of course.
and being here. Yeah.
Yeah, I took a lot of notes. My brain is buzzing, Cindy. I'd love to talk with you.
Oh, anytime. If you
more.
have questions.
On another night, because I know we hit 8 o'clock, but just I'm available, but maybe I'll send you an email because I know you put yours in the chat. But I'd love to hear more about like the issues that you're having and just dig into that a little bit more. I'm a total hands-on person, so like I need the visuals of all the things.
Right.
But I was humanities, so I was ELA and social studies for middle school for 13 years, and then I stepped into high school for 2, and then I stepped into coaching. So yeah.
Gotcha.
Would
Yeah,
love-
I'll connect you too. I'll connect you
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think we could figure, I don't know.
And that's the thing. It's like if feedback is what's helpful because I don't have all the answers and I'm not the expert when I'm like, I'm just somebody who's determined to do something that's efficient and fits the model because I love the model. And I mean, I am free to move around my room and work with kids. It's just, I worked with a boy, he's from another country and he never learned to read in his own language in Arabic. So he's learning for the first time to read and he has in a reading program, but I have Wilson training and all of that, Orton Gillingham, and I have my materials and I pulled him up and worked with him for about 15 minutes today, just pulled out and went through to see where he was so I could kind of help him with some of that in the middle of a class that have all these needs. But because they're all working on different things and they're able to move through, I could do that as well as go and stop and answer questions and talk to other kids about that we're doing a word analysis. And then I stepped over here and I could help other kids do other things. And that's because they know what to do. And my Google Live document looked cute. It was adorable. It had a little ketchup bottle and the mustard bottle and the mayo. So we had the must do and here's your ketchup work. And it's adorable, but I had to stop and tell them all the time, did you do this one? Did you do that one? They only had to click on the link and now they don't have to do any of that. So it's amazing.
Thank you, Cindy.
That's awesome.
Thank you both so much.
Cool.
Oh, well, have a great rest of your night and we'll
Thank
touch
you.
with both of you, of course. All
Yeah.
right.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye. Good night.
So much. Bye-bye.